Hi everyone and welcome to the Booktube Newbie Tag. I am so excited to be here with you all today because this is such a staple Booktube video which I've actually already filmed before in the past. It was in 2021, but since then I've privated a whole bunch of my videos, and as this is such a rite of passage as a booktuber, I feel like it just really hurts my soul that it's not a video on my channel, so I felt like now was the perfect time for me to film it for you all today. So let's just jump straight into the questions. Question number one is, why did you start this channel? So I have been an avid Booktube watcher since 2014. Booktube was really the platform that has made me fall in love with reading again, because when I was a teenager, I was really struggling to find recommendations of books. And then I stumbled across Catty Tastic's video of where she ranked characters by whether she would marry them, kill them. Oh wait, no, it wasn't that. I think it was actually like whether she would rewrite the plot, keep the plot, and then burn the books. I don't remember because I'm trying to remember now a video I watched over a decade ago. But that video really just opened my eyes to this whole other world on YouTube. And since then, I have been an avid watcher of Booktube. Like, I love it to bits. I have seen all of the different eras. I've seen all of the big creators really take off. Like, I remember when Booktube was such a small, intimate platform, and now it's just grown into this massive thing where even though it's not like a massive platform in the YouTube scale, the way that Booktube has grown and now taken off is insane, and especially with the rise of BookTok. I just love Booktube. I can rave about it forever. Like, it's honestly my favourite platform. I love it more than Bookstagram, BookTok. I just love the long form content that we get on this platform and the different creativity we see. And I feel like, in my personal opinion, I specifically love the long form nature of Booktube because you really get to dive into people's thoughts and views on books and get to have more of a look into their insights about certain books. And this also really inspires the books I've picked up. Like, if you look at my shelves behind me, majority of that is due to Booktube. We're going to ignore this one here because this is my unhaul pile, which is insane, don't get me wrong, like, this hurts, but the books behind me is because of Booktube. I just found Booktube was a platform which has recommended me so many books. It's really shaped me as a reader, who I am as a person, because books make up so much of my personality, and finding Booktube was honestly one of the biggest blessings of my life. And when I was a teenager, I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to make a Booktube channel. So the fact that I've actually done it and I'm making videos for you all is kind of wild for me, because I honestly never thought I would be in this position. I've always thought I'd much rather just prefer content, but then one day there was like a light switched in my head and it's like, you know what, let's actually make content, make videos. And so far I've been having such a fantastic time, and especially recently, like over the last month of making videos, I really feel like I've found not my style yet, but I feel like I really understand what I enjoy doing on Booktube, because as I said, I think earlier, I've been making videos since 2020, even though my Booktube Newbie Tag was in 2021. I've had like 5 years of experience, but it's all like, you can't watch it anymore, but you can watch my things from last year, I think. But it was just, I was really inspired by Booktube, and honestly that was such a long answer, but I started this channel because I love Booktube and I want to talk about books, and it just makes up so much of my personality. That's the simple answer, which I could have just said, but as I said, I love long form content, so that's what we're getting with my Booktube Newbie Tag. So moving on to question 2, it is asking, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? Honestly, I hate this question. I don't think I'm really that unique of a person, but obviously my personality is different, so the way I film and talk about books will be different from other people. I think something fun I bring to Booktube, and something I'm quite proud of, is my TBR game. It is a game I made years ago, but I made it with my dad, so it holds such a special place in my heart. It is inspired by my favourite story of all time, I think. Like, It's definitely up there, but that is One Piece. One Piece is a story I absolutely adored. So I made a TBR game based on it. I just really enjoyed that game. So that's also something fun about my channel, because I feel like now I love TBR jars, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they've overtaken the platform. Like, everyone and their mother does them, and I love them. I think they are so fun. But I really grew up on watching TBR games, so I just love them, which is why obviously I've made one for myself. That is how I found so many other creators, but that is something fun and a bit unique about my channel. But it's really not unique, because there's lots of booktube creators before me who have made TBR games. So I feel like that's my answer. And my personality, obviously I've already said why. I feel like that will make my booktube channel different. But yeah, I still really hate this question. So we're now going to move on to question 3. And sorry, I'm looking over here. That's where the questions are. But that is asking, what are you most excited about for this new channel? And the thing I'm most excited about is the fact that I can talk about my love of books. I love reading so much. And in my real life, I really don't have many people I can talk to about books. I've got one friend in Australia who reads, but she doesn't read at the rate I do. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just means when she does pick up a book, we often don't cross over. So it can be a bit difficult to really bond over certain books. And I love how with Booktube you can post a video and then someone can see it and comment. It's just crazy. And then also the fact that I can film a video and then go back and see my thoughts on a certain book is another aspect of Booktube from my small amount of experience, which I really adore. I just love it. So them two things are the most exciting thing about starting this new channel. So the next question is, why do you love reading? I love reading because it is something I've done my whole life. There has only been, I think, 1 year in my life where I haven't read a significant amount, and that was just because I didn't know what books to read, and there was no recommendations really, because I was the only person in my real life at that time who read. But this was when I was like a kid. But then I found Booktube, and then that really opened up a whole new world, and I found all these new books, and since then I've just continued. I think the main reason though why I love reading is because one is my favorite hobby, and the main reason it is my favorite hobby is because books in particular are the best form of storytelling for me. And kind of a unique fact about me is I think I've got aphantasia, where I don't picture things where I read. So even though I don't picture things, which really breaks my heart as a reader, because I wish I could imagine all these magical worlds, but I can't. So the things that really stick out to me is the characters. I love when I read and I get these really brilliantly done characters who are so complex, and just the storytelling is beautifully done. So I just love reading because of everything it gives. The only time I don't love reading is when I'm bored. But even when I'm bored, I still love reading because I can just DNF the book and move on to another one. I love the way also reading has impacted my life and made me who I am as a person. It's my favourite hobby, that's all I can say. So we're going to stop there for that question so I don't then keep repeating myself, because I love to do that, don't get me wrong. So the next question, what is this? What book or series got you into reading? Yeah, that's the next question. Good. And for me, it would have to be a childhood book because I've been reading since I was a child. I remember my mum reading me into bed and I make her reread the same story over and over again. And I feel like that story has really impacted me because this is a tangent, but it was about this girl who every night she'd have these teddies. Saying this sounds ridiculous. So she'd have these teddies and she couldn't decide which ones would hop in her bed. This sounds really weird now that I'm saying it out loud, but it was about this girl who couldn't decide which teddies would be in her bed, and then they were all in her bed. Let me try and find it. I'll be back in a second. So I found them. I've got them here. These are the books that have got me into reading when I was a kid. So going back to the story that was really weird as I was trying to explain it to you. So the book was Cuddle Up Tight. This is a book I made my mum reread every single night. So every night, it's just a picture book and she'd have teddies. And then by the end of the book, she couldn't decide what teddies would hop in her bed, so she's got like so many. And then you get to the end, but wait, yeah, because it's like, but dinosaurs left all on his own. Don't worry, dinosaur will fit you in somehow. So it's about all these teddies hopping in her bed, which I can't believe I'm saying this on Booktube, but this is honestly the book that has impacted me the most when I was a kid. And it's where the point of this all is, I think this is why, now I've thought about it, why I don't like leaving inanimate objects by themselves, was because of this book, which is ridiculous. But this was my childhood book. Oh, I hit my face with the book. I can't talk. So this was my childhood book. And then I had one about a bunny called Lettuce. So these were like the most pivotal books. I've got The Birthday Girl and then Felicity Wishes. But the one that's the most important is Cuddle Up Tight. And I feel like just showing you was better than me explaining it, because when I was trying to explain it, I was like, this just sounds weird. So these are the books that got me into reading. So I really feel like I've got my mum to thank. But then as I became older, I then started reading books like Percy Jackson, Divergent, The Hunger Games. One more, Emily Rodder's, I don't know what it is. Emily Rodder, the Del Toro Quest series. That was a fantastic series that I love. So they were the books that really got me into reading. But then the book that got me back into reading, it's not the book that got me back into reading, but it was the book when I was younger, which made me love reading when I was like 13, was number 1, City of Bones. Number 2, The Lunar Chronicles. Love The Lunar Chronicles. And they're the 2 major ones that stick out at this point in time. But I love them. So basically, I've just always read, I love reading, and that is why. So there's not one particular book or series that got me into reading. The next question is, what questions would you ask your favourite booktubers? I know exactly what. The first time I filmed this video years ago, in 2021, I think it was, yeah. I was like, I don't know what to ask my favourite booktubers. I couldn't think of it. But then I just realised now. My main question would be, how are you consistent all of the time? How do you have that discipline to be so consistent? I have tried. I find it so difficult. I just feel like I'm lacking that discipline. But it's a hobby, so it's like not the end of the world. But I would really like to keep up with Booktube and actually make a strong effort in keeping up with it, just because of how much I love Booktube. And I feel like it's such a wonderful platform that I really want to be a part of, which is why I would want to know, how are you so disciplined? Because I struggle with that when life gets crazy. And I get for some people it's their full-time job, so it's a bit easier for them. But I'm really talking about the booktubers who do it with a full-time job and uni and just things like that. Because I'm also a law student at the moment, so trying to balance everything can be a bit much. Yeah, so that's my answer for that. The next question is, what challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I know exactly what this is, and as I've already mentioned in my last answer, it is consistency. The biggest challenge for me will be consistency. I don't know if I will keep up with this, because so far I've been doing really well for the past month, but when I go back to uni, I might find it a whole lot more difficult. So maybe I'll cut down to 1 video a week, but I would at least like 1. So my biggest challenge will be being consistent. Like, it's just a fact and I know it. Yeah, we can leave it at that. There's no need to go any further. The next question is, when did you start reading? I've answered this throughout this video. I started reading when I was a young kid, and I've just kept reading ever since, except for that 1 year where I didn't. The next question is, where do you read? So I read in a couple of spaces. I read on my floor in a beanbag. I read in my bed, which is right next to me. And then in the next room, I've got a study. I won't show you in this video, but I really do want to film a bookshelf tour for you all. And because of that, but I don't know when that will be, but you'll see that room. And you might have seen it in like reading vlogs. There's a couch in there, so I'll read there. I'll read at work, on my Kindle. I'll read on public transport. So I read wherever I can, but my predominant place I read is on my bed. Oh, we're now up to the final question. This is so good. I was really struggling at the start of this video, just trying to formulate my thoughts into words. But we got there. We got there eventually. So the final question is, what kind of books do you like to read? So the predominant genres I read are fantasy, romance, and sci-fi. I don't really tend to skew outside my genres that I like. I don't pick up thrillers. I don't pick up horrors. I don't pick up non-fiction. I just stick to what I know I like. But I feel like my favourite genre of the moment is romance books. Even though they can be quite repetitive sometimes, I'm having a really good time with that genre. Sorry about this chair squeaking. We can tell I've got a whole lot more relaxed because I'm now just doing whatever. But I feel like I'm in a really weird mood today as well. But you can see from my shelves behind me, I've got From Blood and Ash down below. I've got Fourth Wing. I've got Poison Study. Marie V. Schneider. Oh, let me go there. Marie V. Schneider is another one of my favourite authors. Wait, I'm pointing at the wrong books now. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Yeah, Marie V. Schneider there. She was a really important author to me. Jade Legacy up there. So you can see I've got fantasy. Then you can see I've got Brandon Sanderson's books. So this shelf here is kind of like a representation of the books I read. But, oh yeah, I've even got my contemporary books down there. I was about to say it's not, but it is because I've got my contemporary books there. So, yeah, that really is who I am as a reader, the type of genres I like. I feel like this Booktube Newbie Tag has kind of been a hot mess. I struggled at the start and now I feel like I'm very comfortable. So when I'm editing this, we'll just have to see how it all comes together because I'm honestly a bit like, ooh. But it's fine because this is who I am as a person. I'm a bit weird, I'm a bit funky. And I love books. I feel like that's all I can say. So yeah, this was the Booktube Newbie Tag and I just wanted to say I hope to see you next time and bye.